The planet that we live on is incredible. With a surface area of nearly 197 million square miles and five completely different biological and environmental regions, the Earth is a treasure and one that we must cherish. There are many different living creatures who call this place home. Creatures which we must understand, like ourselves, have nowhere else to go. Many of these creatures are being threatened by the tremendous changes being made by the hand of man. The alarming rate of deforestation and the buildup of carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere have greatly impacted the environmental state of many of Earth's regions. Earth is our home, and the third planet from the Sun in our solar system. It's also the only planet that we know of that contains all of the resources necessary to sustain complex life. But there have been many changes on our planet in recent decades. Changes that threaten this key truth. The spread of pollution, the greater demand for arable land, the increase of acidity in the rain, the draining of natural resources, and the forced extinction of more than 700 different species of plants and animals over the last century have greatly impacted the ecosystem. One of the greatest resources that's being threatened is the ocean. The buildup of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has turned the Earth into a greenhouse. The heat energy from the sun that penetrates the Earth's atmosphere is not allowed to escape back through the atmosphere into space. This means that the Earth is slowly heating up. This information comes to us from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, or NOAA. Due to these changes, a definite warming trend has been created in recent years that threatens our very way of life. If these temperature changes continue, and the temperature rises enough, it is possible that the ice cap at the North Pole could melt. This would result in the level of the Earth's oceans rising by at least 2 feet globally. While it doesn't seem like much of an increase to people like us who live above sea level, the impact will be felt in many coastal cities all over the world. Low-lying places such as Venice, Italy, New York City, Amsterdam, Tokyo, Washington, D.C. would definitely be affected by this rise in sea level. The economy would crash without goods being exported from Japan. The tourist dollars made in Venice and Amsterdam would disappear, and the New York Stock Exchange based in New York City would be faced with a problem on an astronomical scale. Even the United States government would be crippled, especially if the capital city was flooded. Pollution is also another problem that we face when it comes to the ocean. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association also stated that 80% of pollution to the marine environment comes from the land. One of the biggest sources is called non-point source pollution, which occurs as a result of runoff from boats, cars, farms, ranches, and other areas. Millions of motor vehicles drop small amounts of oil each day onto roads and parking lots. Much of this makes its way into the sea, with millions of tons of garbage also finding its way into the ocean every year. The delicate balance that exists there has been threatened, whether it be a higher number of animal fatalities associated with sea life eating or becoming ensnared in garbage, or the chemical changes and death of ocean habitats all over the world. These changes have a dramatic impact not only on the environment but on the economy and the state of life in these areas. Most of these areas depend on the ocean. Many coastal cities rely on the ocean as a way to feed families and ship goods from one place to another. They also rely on the commerce brought into them by tourists and traders. These cities can't survive without the ocean, but they can't survive underwater either. I would say that it is our duty to save our beloved planet. Everything we have, from the air that we breathe to the food that we eat, relies on the environment and the overall health of our planet. I personally have taken an initiative to begin recycling and reducing my carbon footprint. Once a month, I gather up all of the paper that is accumulated in my house, load it in the back of my car, and drive to the nearest recycling center. I also made myself use fewer plastic water bottles and instead try to drink water out of reusable bottles when possible. While these may seem like little things, if we all join together and strive to make the planet a better place for ourselves and for future generations, then we could all enjoy the fruit of our labor. One major step that needs to be taken in order to create a more environmentally friendly economy is to reform current industry. And I mean this as a way of saying, well, most people in a position of power would say, okay, let's cut the oil industry, let's cut mining. But they don't understand how big of an impact this would have on local economies and on the global economy as a whole. What I think needs to be done is find a way to make these areas more practical for use in the modern world. We can't go on living the way that we always have, because if we do, it will lead to extinction. We must take a change and act with the proper thought to change the world. And I urge you to act as well.